بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآل الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our study of different classifications for muqaddimah. One of the classification, which is the fifth one, al-khamis, taqsimuha ila mufawwitah wa ghayr mufawwitah. There are two types of prerequisites, mufawwita and غير مفوتة. مفوتة comes from فوت. فوت means to expire, to die, to finish, to stop. Yeah? عجلوا بالصلاة قبل الفوت. فات يفوت فوتا. But when it goes to باب تفعيل, فوت يفوت تفويت, it means to make something die, to make something expire. Tafwit. Yeah? So, when the prerequisite has such characteristic that if you don't do it in its own time, later you would not be able to do the wajib, we call this muqaddama is mufawwita. Means not doing it is mufawwit. For example, you have to go to Hajj in the month of Dhul Hajj, for example, or end of Dhul Qa'dah. Yeah? But sometimes, few months before that, you have to apply for visa, you have to reserve your ticket, you have to register with a group. Sometimes you have to go for medical, checking, vaccination, all these things. You have to do all these things before actually the time of wujub hajj, before the hajj becomes wajib, you have to do all these things. If you say hajj becomes wajib in the hajj or end of Dhul Qa'dah and say till then I don't do anything, okay, then when end of Dhul Qa'dah comes, you cannot then sort out visa and other things. So it means that you will never be able to go to hajj. So some muqaddimah prerequisites are so important that you have to do it in advance so that when the time of wujub comes, you will be able to do the wajib. Okay? So, al-muqaddamatul mufawwitah عبارة عن المقدمة التي يحكم العقل بوجوب الاتيان بها قبل وجوب ذيها. Intellect rules, judges that you have to bring this muqaddimah before obligation of ذي المقدمة. على وجه, in the way that لو لم يأت بها قبله, if it is not brought before, لما تمكن من الاتيان بالواجب في وقته, he would not be able to do wajib in its time. You must do it earlier so that when the time of wajib comes, you would be able to do wajib. If you wait and do nothing, it would be too late to prepare for your wajib. كقطع المسافة للحج قبل حلول أيامه. I mentioned the example of visa and ticket and reservation. The example of the book is traveling. You might be few thousands of kilometers away from Mecca. Sometimes people used to start their traveling few months ago, walking, for example. So before the time of wajib comes, you have to start moving, traveling, so that you would be there in time for miqat and beginning of your ihram and all these things. Of course, this depends on accepting the view that Hajj becomes wajib end of Dhul Qa'dah and beginning of Dhul Hajj. Because there is another view which says the wujub of Hajj is from Shawwal. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hajj. Okay? But if we assume that wujub of Hajj comes later, بناء على تأخر وجوب الحج إلى أن يحين وقته, according to the view that Hajj becomes wajib, the wujub of Hajj is when the time of performance of Hajj comes, not in Shawwal or beginning of Dhul Qa'dah. فبما أن ترك قطع المسافة في وقته يوجب فوت الواجب, because not traveling in its time would lead to losing wajib. So it is called يعبر عنه بالمقدمة المفوتة. It's called مقدمية مفوتة. Indeed, this مقدمة is not مفوت. Not doing of مقدمة is مفوت. Yeah? This مقدمة, you must do it. If you don't do it, you would not be able to do wajib. So مقدمة is not مفوت, but we call it مفوتة. Do you understand?
So not doing the muqaddamah.
Not doing it in its time means that you cannot do wajib.
So then muqaddamah becomes fault.
Yes. So what is mufawwit in real sense? Not doing muqaddamah.
شيخنا this both اختيارا واضطرارا same اختيارا واضطرارا.
Like what?
For example, you didn't get يوم عرفات, the day of عرفات.
Yeah.
as مقدمة حج عرفات.
No, it's not mufawwita. That is غير mufawwita. That is something that you do it at the time of Hajj. Mufawwita is to be done before the time of wujub comes, wujub of Hajj comes, you have to do it. But Arafat is inside Hajj. Yeah. Another example. Do you want another example? Yes?
Yes.
Another example is in the months of Ramadan, you know that at the time of Fajr, you have to be with a condition of tahara. So if someone during the night becomes junub and needs ghusl, he or she must make the ghusl before Fajr. Why? Because at the time of Fajr you must be tahir. So وجوب الغسل قبل الفجر is only because it is muqaddimah. It's a prerequisite for being able to fast. If you don't have tahara at the time of Fajr, you cannot fast. So as a prerequisite, you have to do ghusl earlier. Okay? Otherwise, we don't have something independent as a wajib, independent wajib, that you have to do ghusl midnight or after midnight. There is no such a thing. That it's obligatory to do ghusl 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. for example. What is obligatory is that you must fast, and from the beginning of fasting, which is Fajr, you must have tahara. In order to be able to have tahara from the beginning of fasting, you have to do ghusl before. Okay? We go to the sixth classification. The sixth classification is what you had it before in another book. Muqaddimah is sometimes ibadiyah and sometimes ghayru ibadiyah, which we call it what? Do you remember what is opposite to ibadi? Tabassuli. We have also wajib ibadi, wajib ta'abbudi and tabassuli. Ibadi means muqaddimah by itself is an act of worship. So although it is a prerequisite, but by itself is an ibadah. Like wuzu. Wuzu by itself, nurun. Al-wudu'u nurun. Wuzu is an act of ibadah. You do it with the niyyah of taqarrub ila Allah. But it is also prerequisite for salat. But some of the muqaddamat are not ibadah by themselves. For example, you have to do tathir of your dressing. If your dress is najis, you have to wash it and make it tahir. Your body. You have to find a place which is clean, which is, mubah. These are not ibadah by themselves. These are prerequisites for ibadah. تقسيمها إلى مقدمة عبادية وغيرها. Muqaddama is divided into two parts. Ibadiyya, devotional. I think the good translation here is devotional and non-devotional. In
The case of the tahara of the dress is غير ibadi.
yes, tahara of the rest doesn't need niyyah. Yeah? Even if a machine can do tahara of your dress properly, it is okay. إن الغالب على المقدمة هي كونها أمرا غير عباديا. What is غالب means the majority of cases. Yeah, what is the overwhelming majority is that muqaddama is not devotional. Most of the time muqaddama is not devotional. Like what? كتطهير الثوب للصلاة. Cleaning your dress for salat. This is not devotional. You don't need niyyah of taqarrub. Even without niyyah, even a machine can do that if it washes properly. وقطع المسافة إلى الحج. Traveling doesn't need to be with the niyyah of hajj or niyyah of qurbah. Maybe you are traveling for business. You have a business in Mecca or Jeddah. So you travel up to miqat because of business, but you say now I am in miqat and I want to do from now for hajj. Possible. But ربما تكون عبادة. Most of the time it's not devotional, but sometimes it's devotional. So it's ibadah, but also prerequisite for a greater ibadah. Yeah? Like wuzu. Wuzu is ibadah, but it is also prerequisite for salat, which is greater. بحيث لا تقع مقدمة إلا إذا وقعت على وجه عبادي. In the second type, it cannot be serving as prerequisite unless it is done as a ibadah. Wuzu without niyyah of taqarrub is not wuzu, and therefore you cannot say your salat with this. It has to be done according to all the requirements for ibadah so that you can then do salat. If your wuzu comes without understanding, without intention of qurbah, your wuzu is void, then you cannot say salat. So wuzu must be ibadah and then can be helping you to do the greater ibadah, which is salat. لا تقع مقدمة إلا إذا وقعت على وجه عبادي. It cannot be prerequisite unless it's done according to the devotional side. ومثالها, example for this, according to Ayatollah Subhani, he says we have only these examples. You can think if you can find another example. One is wudu, ghusl, tayammum. All these three need qasdul qurbah. You have to do it as ibadah. فالمقدمة هي الوضوء الذي أتى بها المكلف تقربا إلى الله وامتثالا لأمره أو امتثالا لأمره. So sometimes muqaddama is ibadi, sometimes muqaddama is not ibadi. Now, How many opinions are there about wujub muqaddamat al-wajib? How many opinions are about whether muqaddamat al-wajib is wajibun shar'an or not? You can say there are three opinions, three types of views. اختلفت كلمة الأصوليين في حكم المقدمة على أقوال. Ulama al-Usul with respect to this topic are divided. Their words are divided. First, وجوبها شرعا مطلقا. Some people have said, we always accept that it is shar'an wajib. Religiously, it's obligatory.
All al-muqaddamat,
All muqaddamat.
all the classifications.
Of course, all muqaddamat of wajib, not muqaddamat al-wujub. Muqaddamat al-wajib. Whether it is ibadi, ghayr ibadi, they are all wajib, shar'an. Some said, عدم وجوبها كذلك, means عدم وجوبها مطلقا. None of muqaddamatul wajib is wajib. And the third opinion is al-qawlu bit-tafsil. They have accepted wujub of muqaddama shar'an for some types of muqaddama, and for some others they didn't accept. For example, they said if it is ibadi, is wajib shar'an. If it is not ibadi, it's not wajib. Okay? But Ayatollah Subhani has the idea that it is never wajib. So he accepts the second view. Al-Mukhtaru indana. Means what we choose, the view that we choose is this. عدم وجوب المقدمة أساسا. None of the muqaddamat is wajib shar'an. فيصبح القول بالتفصيل كالصالبة بانتفاء الموضوع. Because none of them is wajib, so the third opinion has no case. You know صالبة بانتفاء الموضوع? For example, someone asks you, does your child go to school? You say no. Then your friend says, you don't have any child. Say, okay, this was Salabib intifai mawzu. My child doesn't go to school, either because I have child who doesn't go to school, or I don't have any child. When you don't have any child, this is Salabib intifai al-mawzu. Means there is no child to go to school. Okay? Is it clear? As-salibatu bintifa'il mawdu. Why you don't accept, if you ask Ayatollah Subhani, why you don't accept wujub of muqaddama at all? In all cases you don't accept. He says, either wujub al-muqaddama is not needed, or it is laghv, it's useless, for example. He says, we have zil muqaddama and we have muqaddama. Okay? Salat and wuju. Salat has a command. If you do salat, you have thawab. If you don't do salat, you have iqab, punishment. When someone knows that salat is obligatory and there is a command for it, and he decides to do it, so he will bring also the prerequisite. And if he decides not to say salat despite having thawab and iqab, so to say that wuzu is wajib for that doesn't make difference. So if he's going to do it, he will do it, and he knows that aqlan that he has to do muqaddamat. If he is not going to do it, even if you say this is religiously needed, he knew salat is needed and he didn't bother. Now, if you say wuzu is wajib as a muqaddama, he would not bother. Okay? So he says, it's not helping at all. Okay? So, the mukallaf knows that zil muqaddama is wajib. And there is sabab and iqab dependent on that. If he decides to do wajib, his aql tells him that he has to do muqaddimah. He has to do muqaddimah. So why you are in need of issuing another religious command? You don't need to issue a religious command. Save your commands. The aqlan knows that he must do it. And if he's not going to do salat, so you say salat is wajib, he doesn't bother. Then you say wuzu is wajib for salat shar'an, he doesn't bother about that as well. So what are you going to gain from saying that wuzu is wajibun shar'an? You are not gaining anything from that, according to Ayatollah Sultan. So wujub al-muqaddimah بين اللغوية وعدم الحاجة. Muqaddimah is, if you say muqaddimah is wajibun shar'an, this wujub is either laghv, means useless, or adamul haja, it's not needed. Yes? It's either useless or not needed. Can you explain that? Yes. إن الغرض من الإيجاب, why we make something obligatory? هو جعل الداعي في ضمير المكلف, is to put a kind of motivation inside the person. We'd say this is wajib so that he has motivation to do it. للانبعاث, so that he will be moving, he will be pushed towards action. Okay, he knows that this is wajib, salat is wajib. If this is enough for him as a motivation, okay, he will do muqaddamah as well. If knowing salat is wajib is not giving him motivation, so saying that wuzu is wajib for salat also is not going to help him. Al-amru al-muqaddami faqidun litilka al-ghaya. If we believe that there is wujub belonging to muqaddamah, doesn't help for putting motivation so that the person moves towards wajib. Because amr muqaddami imma ghayru ba'ithin aw ghayru muhtajin ilay, either doesn't push or we don't need it. It doesn't push if the person is not going to listen to wujub salat. Okay? And if he's going to listen, then we don't need it. Okay? Amma al-awwal, it's useless, it doesn't help. فهو فيما إذا لم يكن الأمر بذل المقدم الذي يترتب عليه الثواب والعقاب باعثا نحو المطلوب النفسي. When the command which belongs to ذل مقدمة, on which reward and punishment come, if that with reward and punishment that belong to it is not motivating this person and moving him, so amr bil muqaddamah is not also doing anything. فإن ذلك لا يكون الأمر بالمقدمة باعثا, because there is no punishment or reward for muqaddamah. وأما الثاني فهو فيما إذا كان الأمر بالذهاب باعثا للمكلف نحو المطلوب. If the person, by knowing that salat or zal muqaddamah is wajib, is going to do it, okay, so this is enough to push him, to move him. You don't need to add to this the wujub of muqaddamah. والحاصل, the conclusion overall is this: أن الأمر المقدمي يدور أمره بين عدم الباعثية إذا لم يكن المكلف بصدد الإتيان بذي المقدمة وعدم الحاجة إذا كان بصدد الإتيان. If he wants to pray, so you don't need أمر بالمقدمة. If he's not going to pray, you are not benefiting from having this. He's not going to do it anyway. وَإِذَا كَانَ الْحَالُ كَذَلِكَ, when the situation is like this, that either it is laghv or it is not needed, either it is useless or it's not needed, when the situation is this, then the legislator, the lawmaker, the shari' would not legislate such thing. فَتَشْرِيعُ مِثْلِهِ قَبِيحٌ لَا يَصْدُرُ عَنِ الْحَكِيمِ. Okay. Now we have some classifications for wajib. Chapter 4 was about classifications for muqaddimah. Okay? Now our discussion is about wajib. You are familiar with this because we studied this in previous book. Al-wajib, sometimes it is divided into mutlaq and mashroot. Maybe I only tell you this for tonight. Others are easy also, but maybe just this. Mutlaq wa mashroot, absolute and conditional. Muaqqat wa ghayr al-muaqqat. It comes with timing or without timing. Nafsi wa ghayri. It has become obligatory for itself or for something else. Asli wa taba'i. It has been expressed. Asli and taba'i is a matter of expression. It has been expressed as a wajib by itself, or it has been expressed as a prerequisite for another wajib. Aini wa kifai. Either it is something that every mukallaf has to do it, or it is kifai. If some people do it, other people don't need to do it. Is mubahisa wajib aini or kifai? It's aini. And here is wajib. In our hawza it is wajib. It's aini. Ta'yini wa takhiri. Sometimes you have to do something specifically. Sometimes you are given an option, a choice. For example, if someone doesn't fast intentionally and has no excuse, either he fasts for every day in addition to qaza. We are not talking about qada, about kafara. So he has to do one day qada, but also 60 days kafara as compensation, or feed 60 people, or release one slave. There is a choice. You can choose between these three. Okay, this is called takhiri. But ta'ini is only one. Or according to some fuqaha, in the time of ghaiba, on the day of Jum'ah, you can do Jum'ah, you can do Zuhr. This is takhiri. Okay, you can do Zuhr or you can do Jum'ah. So let's go to the first one. Mutlaq wa mashroot.
Mutlaq and muqayyad, is that the same?
No, we don't call muqayyad. We call, that's another discussion.
Oh, okay. In the previous book.
Yes, this is about what? That is about am and khas, mutlaq and muqayyad. That's another. Inshallah, it comes later. Mutlaq means that doesn't have any condition for wujub, or at least with respect to this condition. For example, let me ask you a question. Is qat'ul masafa, traveling up to Mecca, is it a muqaddama which is mutlaq, or it's a muqaddama which is, I mean, it's for wajib mutlaq or wajib mashroot? Qat'ul masafa.
It's both.
No, it's mutlaq. Because whether you do it or not, wajib is there. But istita'a is something without which there is no wujub. So wajib of, like Hajj. Hajj is a kind of wajib that depends on istita'a. It's mashroot. It's conditional. If you don't have istita'a, Hajj is not wajib. So Hajj is wajib mutlaqan with respect to qat'ul masafa or visa, but it is mashroot with respect to istita'a. Or all wajibat, salat, zakat, hajj, khums, are mashroot with respect to few conditions. We call them ash-shurutul amma lit-taklif. For example, bulugh. If someone has not become religiously mature, okay, there is no wujub. Like istita'a. Without istita'a there is no wujub. Without bulugh is no wujub. Or aql. If someone doesn't have aql, he's mad, then there is no taklif. or qudra. If someone is not capable of doing something, then again there is no wujub. So it's not only hajj and istita'ah. That is a specific example, but actually all wajibat with respect to bulugh and aql and qudrah, they are conditional. إذا قيس وجوب الواجب إلى شيء آخر خارج عنه. When you compare the obligation of wajib with respect to something other than wajib, it cannot be except one of the two. Either وجوب الواجب غير متوقف على تحقق ذلك الشيء. The wujub does not depend on that. Like wujub of hajj does not depend on traveling. Whether you travel or not, hajj is wajib. So you have to travel. If it is mutawaqqif, it's like wujub al-hajj بالنسبة إلى الاستطاعة. Wujub al-hajj is conditional on istita'ah. If there is no istita'ah, there is no wujub of hajj. And as I said, there are also general conditions like al-bulugh, al-qudrah, al-aql. So, now it becomes clear for you that itlaq and ishtirat, to be absolute or conditional, for the same wajib can vary according to the condition, according to the thing, yeah? The same hajj, wajibun mutlaqan بالنسبة إلى قطع المسافة and wajibun mashrutun بالنسبة إلى استطاعة. The same wujub with respect to something can be conditional, with respect to another thing can be unconditional. Okay, there is muaqqat and غير muaqqat. Maybe we'll leave it for another time. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.